Hello everyone and welcome to Ian's Bricks. I'm Ian and today I'm going to just talk about and have a roundup of my recent experience at selling my Lego investment sets at the big brick convention that was held in Bournemouth on the 9th of October, which is just last week. I'm recording this actually a week later. I just sort of wanted to share my experiences and sort of give you some ideas of what sold well, what was good, what was bad, this is the fourth Lego sort of fair that I've gone to sell. I did a couple in Milton Keynes, one in October of 2021 and another one in May of 2021. That was run by the Brick Festival people. They were very good events for me, especially the one in the May. And then I did a smaller local event in Totton at the end of September, which was okay, but obviously I didn't make as much money at that one. So I actually heard about this event, the Big Brick Convention, earlier on in this year, in 2022. It was something I just saw advertised on Facebook, and as soon as I sort of saw it, I was very interested because it's being held at the Little Down Centre, which is a sports hall. It's got a swimming pool and a big sports hall and gyms and things like that, and it's literally 20-25 minutes drive away for me, near to Bournemouth Hospital, so it's not all the way into Bournemouth either, so it's a really easy venue for me to get to, very close by, which is fantastic. When I originally contacted the Big Brick Convention people, they obviously got back to me with the prices of the tables, and it was quite expensive, so I actually paid for 2 tables at the event, and it cost me £100 per table, which is a total of £200. Now that's quite a lot of money. The Brick Festival people normally charge around about £45–50 for their tables, so it was twice as much as that. But I did know that because it was so close, and I think I would have regretted if I didn't go, so I thought it was a good idea for me to sort of go to that event. Yes, it's a lot of money to sort of fork up first of all for an event like that, but it was so local and so easy to get to, sort of the fingers crossed that I'd sort of make a decent amount of profit at that particular venue. So I went for it anyway, and I'm really glad I did. Yes, it was a little bit pricey, but as I say, there were so many positives for the event. It was a very good thing for me to actually go to. What I do when I go to these events is I have a lot of sorting out to do. You've probably sort of seen from my previous videos that I put a lot of most of my sets in these sort of plastic poly bag things, so I can put labels on them. It protects the boxes, because I'm very fussy about the boxes that I sell. You've probably seen me doing some of my haul videos where I sort of unbox things, and I'm always looking for sort of boxes in perfect condition, because I want to sell things on in a decent condition to people as well. I want to keep them nice for people, and I know not everybody cares about the state of the boxes, but I think it goes a long way if you can sort of protect and look after the boxes. Then that certainly helps you to sort of be able to maybe charge a little bit more, or at least charge a sort of a decent amount for each set that you're selling. And I say I put labels on as well, so there's quite a lot of time in the weeks up to any kind of sale that I do to make sure that everything's priced up. I check all the prices as well. I generally use sold eBay prices to sort of figure out how much I'm going to sell things for, and also from a little bit of experience of sort of what sold well at my last events and what didn't sell well, I can sort of gauge sort of how much things are worth and how much I'm going to sell things for. So once I've done all the preparation, which I sort of do, you know, I don't do it all in one go, I do it over a few weekends, have everything ready to go. And the beauty again about this Bournemouth Brick Convention is we were able to go down to the event, to the venue, on the Saturday evening, which for me was a no-brainer. I was able to take all my stuff down. I had to wait around a bit because the sports hall was still being used, but once we were free to get in there, I got my found where my table was, put all my boxes in. I didn't stack everything up, I just literally left them there, left them overnight. I was quite happy that the venue would have been secure and looked after, so nothing was sort of going to get stolen or anything like that. And the guys at the Big Brick Convention, they were brilliant. They sort of you know, had a chat with me and things like that, and other people set it up as well. So it was kind of nice to see a few people on a Saturday evening. But obviously the main event itself I think it opened up at 10 a.m. And there was an entry fee for the people that were going into this particular event, which is understandable. They obviously need to charge people to get in because there's the cost of the sports hall hire. And I think I went down for about 8 o'clock. Got set up. It takes me about an hour and a half to set all my stall up and make it look sort of how I like it. Yeah, then I think it was ready to sort of open just before 10 o'clock. I was able to have a look round the event as well. And what was interesting is there were a few other Lego sellers there, but there were quite a lot of displays and things like that. I mean, it's always good at these sort of Lego fairs that it's not just people selling Lego. There's things for people to look at. They had interactive activities. They had tables where people could go and build things and play. So there was loads and loads of stuff to do. And I think I was chatting to one of the guys that sort of ran it, and he said he'd actually, telling me how many people were come into the event. I think he said about 1,500 people had actually bought tickets in advance. So that was really, really good. So I knew that there was going to be a decent amount of people going to be there as well. And it was quite a big venue as well. They'd left lots of sort of spaces between the tables. They put tables all the way around the outside of the venue, which I had one of them in the corner, and they had some rectangular tables in the middle, sort of with traders all the way around. They had a couple of those, but in between that there was loads and loads of space for people to walk around, and it did get quite busy at a few stages, which was great. But yeah, there was certainly plenty of space there. So I think what a lot of people want to know is what sold, how well did it go? It started off pretty well. From when they opened at 10 o'clock, quite a few people came over to my table. I was actually in the far corner of the venue, so as sort of people came in, I could see them coming in, but it took a little while for people to get to me. But yeah, I started making sales straight away, and I'm able to take credit card payments. So I always take, I have this little card called a Sum Up card, which I bought 3 years ago now. I think at the time it cost me £20, but it all still works. I pay a fee for that, so any sales that I do, I can take anything over £1, and they charge me 1.69%. So basically, if I sell something for £10, it costs me 17 pence. That's literally it. So it's not a bad little card to have. And actually, of all the money that I took on the day, I think it was around about 75–80% of it was on this card machine. And it worked perfectly. Inside the venue there was a really good phone signal. I'd had problems before at the last Milton Keynes event, where I just think by the nature of the building being a sort of big steel modern building, that I really struggled to get any kind of signal inside that venue. But this particular venue at Bournemouth, at the Little Town Centre, I got really good signal, and all the payments were going through really quickly. So that was fantastic. That saved a lot of hassle for me and trouble, just knowing that the payments were going through. And also it was nice as well that people kept coming up to me. People obviously recognised me, had seen my channel, so it's interesting to know that people do know that I sort of buy Lego and get it in and then obviously resell it at a profit, but people are still willing to buy from me. So thank you to everybody that came up to say hello. It's always nice to sort of put names to faces of people that comment in the videos, or just people that just watch the videos and don't comment as well. So on to some of the things that I sold. So sales went pretty well through the day. They do tend to dry up towards the end of the afternoon, sort of after about 3 o'clock, because the event was on till 5. It slowed down a little bit. The largest single thing that I sold was my Lego Death Star. So it's the original Death Star, and although I put it on at a higher price, I did actually sell that for £450. So that for me was still a reasonable profit. I think I bought that many years ago at £275. So not a huge profit in that one, but yeah, certainly there's still a profit. Again, I did the guy did barter with me, which is fair enough. I'm happy for people to barter, but probably a little bit lower than I wanted to sell it for. But at the end of the day, I sold it. That's what I'm there to do. I'm there to sell Lego, and I have to say the guy was with his son, and they'd sort of tried to barter and went away and came back again. and the little lad's face when I said yes, he was so pleased. It was really nice to see. So in a way, it was good. They got something that they wanted at a price that probably was just within their limits. So at the end of the day, it's fair enough. I sold the item, I made a profit, and that's what it's all about. And the next thing that I sold, the next highest price item that I sold, was the Tower Bridge set. Now, I'd had this set for quite a few years. It's the first time I'd taken it to any one of my shows, and I had it actually on at £280. Now, there wasn't a lot of profit in that. It's a set that hasn't particularly increased in value a great deal. I think the original retail price for that was £220, so I literally only made £60 profit on that. So really, it's not been a very successful set, but I just thought it was a big set. I took it with me, I got rid of it, I sold it. Yeah, it wasn't a great profit, but ultimately it was taking up a lot of space, and it's not going to increase much more than that, I don't think, in value. Maybe I could have asked a little bit more for it, but at the end of the day I sold it, so that was fine. So some of the other items that I sold, they were the only sort of really sort of what I called really large items that I sold. I did take quite a few of my modular buildings that I had to sell. So there was the Greengrocer, the Fire Brigade, the Pet Shop and the Grand Emporium. Now unfortunately none of those actually sold on the day. Now I understand the Greengrocer, I've taken them a few times now, and people always look at the set and are always interested in the set, but probably the price is just a little bit too high for people. I think it potentially could sell. I think I was asking £1,200 for it, but I think maybe I need to have a rethink about that for the future, because ultimately I do want to sell these sets, and I can't hang on to them forever. And there's sort of a limit sometimes as to the peak of the value of these particular sets and what people are worth to pay for. So unfortunately I didn't sell any of the modular buildings, but what I did sell is I sold a lot of sort of the sort of what I call the medium-sized sets. So one of them that was quite good for me was the Big Bang Theory set, the Lego Ideas. I'd actually taken this to my last two Lego fairs and it hadn't sold, but I had a price of £150 on this one. I think I originally bought this for £50, so literally I got triple the amount back. I only bought it about 5 or 6 years ago, so a reasonable amount of time on that one, but yeah, a decent profit on that one, so I'm glad that finally sold. And I also took the Beatles Yellow Submarine as well. I sold that for £130, I'd originally bought that for £55, so again a reasonable profit, not quite triple profit, but certainly more than double the price, which is always a good thing to do. Again, that was a few years old, maybe about 5 years old. And I also sold one of my VW campers. Now I've got quite a lot of these, as you've probably seen from my previous videos. I sold it for £130. I think originally I bought them for around about 75 or 80, because I bought them before they had a price increase halfway through their life. So I'm pretty certain that I bought most of them for 75. So again, it's a 55 pound profit. So again, a reasonable profit on that. So I've got a few more of those to sort of sell as well. They probably will go up a little bit more in value in time, but I think for now I'm just quite happy to start at least selling a few of those. I think I sold one of those at my last Lego fair in Milton Keynes as well. Some of the other things that went really well for me were the sets that I'd picked up in Denmark earlier this year. Now, you may have seen my video of my exploits going to the Lego house in Billund in Denmark, my lovely little trip back in June and a week in Denmark. I really enjoyed that week, and the idea was always to buy some sets there to bring them back to sell them. Now, none of the profits are particularly huge on these items, but again I looked at the sold eBay prices for these sets, and there was a real sort of variety of prices for sets. So there was the Lego Duck. All of these sets, all of these three sets that I'm going to mention here, retailed in Denmark for, I think it was 699, was it 599? 599 kroner, I think it was. Yeah, 599 kroner, which by the time I'd paid credit card fees and figured out figured out the total on my credit card bill, they came out to around about £71. So that's quite a lot of money for these sets. But so the duck, I took two of those with me, actually, two of those ducks, and both of them sold, which is fantastic. So I sold them for £99 each. So £28 profit, not the greatest in the world. They are the smallest of the 3 sort of sets that I got from the Lego house. But yeah, they did sell, and ultimately, at the end of the day, the people got some sets which are very, very hard to get to. I know the ducks were sold in the London Lego store recently when that reopened back in August. And I managed to pick another one of those up myself. But yeah, those sets sold, a little bit of profit on those. I also took the Dagny Home set, which was the set that was released this year. They have these exclusive sets. They seem to be releasing one a year at the moment. Now, that didn't sell, unfortunately. I was asking 119 for that. Again, the sold eBay prices sort of said that was kind of a good price to sell. But yeah, that was the one set that didn't sell. Maybe I think people just don't know who Dagny Home is. I didn't know who she was, and she was sort of an old Lego designer back in the day at Billund, apparently. But I still think it was a reasonable price to ask for. But yeah, it didn't sell this time. But one thing that did sell was the brick building machine. Now, I actually put that on at £139, so considerably more than the other 2 sets, saying I bought them for about 71. And the reason for that is just that the sold prices on eBay were significantly higher, and of those 3 sets, that is significantly bigger than the other sets. I think there's twice as many pieces in the brick building machine as there were in the Lego duck. So you can see people are getting more value for money, so obviously it's worth more. So it's really, really nice to sell one of those, almost at double the amount I paid for it. 71 up to 139 is what I sold for it. So really pleased to sell that. I also had one of the Lego Architecture House sets as well. That was sold for £95. Again, I was looking at the sold prices on eBay, and it did sell, which is great. I think once I'd done my currency conversion, that cost me about £54 to buy. So again, a reasonable amount of profit, not quite doubled in price, but not bad for something. And all of those sets, of course, were purchased this year. So for me, they're quick turnaround. I've got some more of them as well to sell on a later date. So I didn't sell out of them all, but it was nice to take a few of those, and they sold really, really well. Some of the other things that there was obviously lots of other sets as well, sort of around about the sort of 40, 50, 60 pound mark. Quite a few of those sold. The one thing I wanted to talk about were the Lego promos. So specifically, the promos that come in boxes. So there's been quite a lot of promos over the last few years. There's even been some Lego promos recently in the last couple of weeks, where if you spend over a certain amount at lego.com or at Lego stores, you get at least one free gift. And I'm always on the lookout for these free gifts. You've probably seen in my videos that I do that I'm always trying to get special offers, VIP points or discounts, which you don't very often get from Lego. But what Lego do is they do the free gift with purchase. And if you can get more than one of those gift with purchases when you're buying your items, that's going to make you more money. And as always, these are very, very popular at these sales that I go to. I think the benefit for me is, yes, I like to go with my large items, my big items with the higher prices. They're great. That's what makes me the big money. But actually, when I looked into how many of these promos I sold and took, they actually do really, really well, probably more so than sort of people realise. And because obviously, I know a lot of people buy promos and sell them on eBay, and you've got post and packing fees and eBay costs as well. So yes, there were costs involved for me, obviously, because I paid £200 for these tables. But for me, it's nice to have lots of sort of smaller types of sets. People can look at them, I can put them to the front of my display, and they just sell really, really well. So I'll give you some ideas of some of the sets that I actually sold and the prices I sold them for. Again, I was looking on eBay sold prices to get an idea of the price of the value and the values of the actual items that I was selling. But I took Harry Potter Book of Monsters, and I sold that for £50. And don't forget, all of these are just pure profit. I didn't pay anything for these. These were free gifts with purchase for me. So obviously I had to buy some Lego to buy this, but I always keep the value of that set that I bought. That was kind of where I spent the money. So I always consider these for me as kind of free items, 100% profit. So Harry Potter Book of Monsters for £50. I also had the Harry Potter Grand Staircase, which was a promo just from a couple of months ago, and I sold that for £45. I had the Lego store. So this is is a Lego store that I picked up when I went to the opening or the reopening of the London Leicester Square Lego store, and I sold that for £38. I mean, that was a really nice set. I did like that. It does sort of break my heart sometimes when these sets sell, because I know I'm never going to be able to build them myself, but it's a real shame, but that's what Lego invest in. That's what you have to do sometimes. I also sold the vintage camera. Now this was actually, I consider this a free item, but I did have to spend some Lego VIP points to get this particular item. But again, this was only from last year, and I managed to sell that for £35. I also had the Charles Dickens book. I sold that for £32. That's from a couple of years ago. I had the 40th anniversary train set, which I sold for £30. Again, I think they were from 2020. I managed to pick a lot of those up. I think they were gifts with purchase at the beginning of 2020, but all the Lego stores were closed at the time due to COVID, and so when the Lego stores reopened, I literally went and got bought loads of Lego and got loads of these trains. I think I've got a few of them left still, so really nice to sell that for £30 again. These are all really nice little sets as well. And the Forest Hideout, which was a promo just from earlier in the summer this year. I know I picked a couple of those up when I was in Denmark, when I was picking up all my other Denmark builds, but I got some other ones as well. I actually sold 2 of those, and I sold those for £29. So again, hopefully these prices are reasonable. People bought them at the end of the day, so they're willing to pay, and none of those prices I think were bartered. They were literally all my ticket prices, and people just wanted them and paid them. So hopefully with all of those I got the prices right. There were quite a few other promos that I sold as well for lower values. In total I added up, so of the boxed Lego sets, so not polybags but just the box sets, I sold a total of 20 of the promo items, which is a reasonable amount. The total amount of money that I made from them, £512. So that's £500 that, you know, there's pure profit within that £500. So as I've said to most people that buy Lego, if you are going to be buying from Lego.com, be very, very wary of what you're buying from Lego.com. Always make sure that they're items that probably aren't discounted, aren't easy to get hold of, aren't available like at places like Amazon or other stores as well at hugely discounted prices. So make sure you're buying the right things, but also buy when there are promotions and special offers, because these promos, they're very popular. Some of them are really, really nice sets. Now they've done some really fabulous promos in the last couple of years, Lego, and as you can see, they sell really, really well. So they're always a good thing to have. And there were quite a few poly bags that I sold as well. So I always have a little box with some poly bags in. I mean, they're low value. The poly bags I sold them that had prices on between £3 and £15. So they're only sort of small. But in total, I added up how many I sold, and actually sold 31 poly bags altogether, and made a total amount of £220 on them. So again, not a huge amount, but still it's a couple of £100. Most of those poly bags were sort of free gifts with purchase, but there were some that I had bought. So there were some other ones, maybe some of the older ones, some I bought I think when I was abroad this year, that did have a cost value. So it's not pure profit there that time, but as I say, majority of the poly bags that I bought were kind of free for me. So again, that's good profit. So I know I've talked a lot about some of the individual sets that I bought and the profit that I made. I don't really want to disclose exactly how much I made at this particular fair, but what I do want to say is that it was very, very successful for me, even with the very high cost of the tables at the actual event. It was definitely worth me going to this particular event. Really, it was a no-brainer. It was so close, so easy for me to get to that it just sort of made sense that I did that, and it worked really, really well. And of course, what was nice, because I did sell quite a lot of stuff. At the end of the day, we started packing up just a bit before 5 o'clock, a little bit naughty. I was done, dusted, got everything back in the car, drive back home. I was back home for 6 o'clock. It was wonderful. It was really, really good. So not even a long drive back. So the day went really, really well. I would certainly go to that place again. Although I'm not sure whether the Big Brick Convention will be doing another event there. Certainly the Brick Festival people will be doing events at that Bournemouth at the same place in February and September of 2023. So I'll pretty much definitely be at both of those and I think the tables are a little bit cheaper as well to buy, so it makes kind of sense for me to go to these events in the future again. I had a great time at the event. Again, it was nice to meet people that said hello. I obviously made a decent amount of money, which is great. I sold some of the Lego sets, which is ultimately what I want to do. You never sell everything. You're never going to go home completely empty-handed, but I think I sold enough on the day to make it certainly more than worthwhile. I haven't actually worked out my net profit yet on this one, so I haven't sat down and gone through all my figures, but there certainly is a decent net profit in there for me as well. And I certainly will be doing more of these events in the future. I think for me this is how at the moment I'm liking to sell my Lego investment sets. I mean, I may still use eBay from time to time, but I think for me, yes, it's a lot of work in advance, but you can just go to this one sale, sell loads of stuff, go home at the end of the day and you're done, and you're not too worried about things getting damaged in post and packing. I mean, yes, things could get damaged in transit, but I'm normally very, very careful on how I pack things, say I wrap everything up and things like that. Anyway, I hope this has given you some ideas of kind of what's involved in going to one of these Lego fairs. What I would suggest is if you are a Lego investor or Lego reseller, have got some Lego to sell, and they don't always have to be sealed sets. I mean, there were people there with just minifigures, there were people there with sort of older sets that they'd kind of repackaged and things like that. Some of them had boxes, some of them didn't. So there's lots of different Lego that you can sell. You don't always have to sell the sort of sealed sets that I sell, but that's just how I like to do it at the moment. I have got some older sets which have been opened and I could potentially resell at future events. But for now, I'm happy just to sort of sell my sort of sealed sets. It certainly is worth sort of looking. Certainly in the UK, there's plenty of these Brick Festival locations around. I know they're going down. There's some in Plymouth, Exeter. There's one in London, Birmingham. I think was one recently, maybe this weekend, maybe last weekend. I can't remember. But they're going into Doncaster and Hull, so they're moving around the UK, certainly England, and there's going to be quite a few of these in the future. So if you're based in the UK, that's certainly one organisation I'd certainly look at using. If you're outside the UK, it's just a case of having a look round, seeing what kind of sales and Lego fairs are available. I mean, like me, the first ones that I went to were a 2.5 hour drive away, which I wouldn't normally do, but at the time, that was really my only option. So that's why I went that far. Now that there's some more local to home, makes it so much easier. So maybe have a look at Facebook, do searches for Lego fairs, Lego sellers, conventions, whatever it is, because for me it is a way that I like to sell, but you need to be prepared. You've really got to be prepared, and the more that I do this, the more I sort of get used to what sells well, what doesn't sell well. I mean, there's some sets that I've taken to all 3 Lego fairs now and haven't sold, so I'm going to need to maybe look at those prices, maybe see whether I need to adjust them slightly to lower them. You know, at the end of the day, I want to sell these things, and if they're not selling, I need to maybe look at why. Maybe I'm taking the wrong things to the Lego fairs. Maybe there's other ways of selling them which would be better. So lots of things to sort of still look into, and I'm still learning, but for me it was a great experience. I'm going to shut up now. I've been waffling on for quite a while, so thank you to all the people that have got to this stage of the video. Well done. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been of interest to you. I've sort of divulged a few more of my prices and sale and bought prices this time than I have done in the past, so I hope that sort of information has been useful. Let me know what you think. Do you think I could maybe charge more for these items? Do you think my prices are fair? Let me know in the comments. But thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be more videos like this, either Lego hauls or me going to Lego fairs in the future, so keep an eye out for those. But for now, thank you for watching, and until the next video, take care.